Hey guys, welcome back. So we're doing another range day video. Today I brought out a number of different rifles and pistols to show you guys as we continue our evaluation of various firearms. The first rifle I want to talk about is the XCR-M. This is a semi-automatic 308 rifle manufactured by Robinson Armament. You've seen the rifle briefly in the channel or here on the channel before, including its 5.56 little brother. Now I was having some problems with the 5.56 rifle. I was having some erratic extraction and ejection issues. I was working through those issues, and I want to thank the guys on the XCR forums for being extremely helpful in helping me to troubleshoot that rifle. And then of course I have the XCR-M. This is in 308. I've had no problems with this rifle whatsoever with a fairly wide variety of ammunition. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to continue my review of these rifles. Alex has asked for these rifles back, and I'm not going to have time to complete my evaluation of both these rifles. So I wanted to bring out the XCR-M. I have been shooting it, just not on video. I wanted to show you guys, though, on video the rifle being used, show you some accuracy, exactly what the rifle's capable of with a couple of different flavors of match ammo, as well as just standard old military ball. So I'll talk a little bit more about that rifle here in a minute. A couple of other rifles and pistols that we've been testing here for a little while is they are brand new products from Midwest Industries. This is their Model 15F pistol. It is a pistol, believe it or not, has the SB15 brace on it, and right now it's wearing a Griffin Armament 5.56 can and a hi-lux red dot sight, which we're continuing our evaluation of these sights. I've ordered a couple more of them in, and we're going to do some destructive testing on the sights as well. We're going to get pretty rough with them. And then this is the lightweight model. Again, this is from Midwest Industries, one of their new rifles. This one has a pencil weight barrel on it. It's very lightweight, balances very nicely. Magpul furniture, and it's a Model 15F, and again it's in 5.56 caliber. I'm currently shooting the rifle with this hi-lux CMR. Love these optics, the 1-to-4 power optics. These are an extremely good buy. I have it on here with the SPR 1.5 LaRue mount. And then I brought out a special treat. This rifle I've had since it was early spring, I think, of last year. I've had this rifle now, gosh, maybe half a year or so. Anyway, I picked the rifle up. It was at my local gun shop, Blythe Sports. It was just sitting in the back room. I got lucky and saw it sitting there. I picked it up. This is a World War II era SVT-40 and 7.62 by 54R. It's one of the coolest rifles of World War II. I've always wanted one, and I feel extremely lucky to have gotten such a nice example of the rifle. I brought it out today to play with the gas settings. I ordered a replica gas adjustment tool, and I wanted to kind of play with those gas settings. These rifles aren't exactly what I would call reliable. Another bad thing about the SVT-40 is if you get it with a magazine, some of them are being sold now without magazines. You're lucky to have a magazine. You're certainly probably never going to find a spare. I've looked high and low. They simply don't exist. When the rifles were issued, they were issued with one magazine, and it just seems that these magazines are an extreme rarity here in the United States. Mine, I think, has some magazine spring issues, so it's not 100% reliable, but they weren't known for the reliability even in World War II. But I still think it's one of the coolest rifles of World War II. Anyway, so we're going to do a little bit of shooting, bring you guys along, and show you some of these interesting rifles and pistols. We're going to fire off a few rounds out of the Gorilla ammunition. It's 175 grain Sierra Match King match loads out of the XCR-M. And we're just trying to get the thing set up on paper. This is the first time that we're really firing it with a scope. We did fire off a few rounds of just some regular old ball ammo here, which was doing about 3.5-inch groups. We're going to try some match ammo now and see what it does. It is a Zeiss scope, and I have it set to 14 power. I think it's 14 power. My bad, 12 power. 14 power is my other scope. Alright, so there's a click and no bang, so I'm going to give it a second here. Don't know if the gun's short stroked or if it's a bad primer yet. No mark at all on the primer, not even the slightest indentation, so I don't know what that was. I'm going to go ahead and attribute that to the gun. Had no functional issues with the military ball ammo. That's the first functional issue I've had with the match ammo. Yeah, there's something definitely wrong. It could be the ammo, it could be that the ammo's not going all the way into the chamber. Wait one more second here. I'll try a different round. All right. Not even the slightest mark on the primer. Just try a different round. Could be the ammo. Not going to blame the gun. Looks like it probably was that round. Bullet could just be seated too long. Alright, so we're not going to get a 5-shot group. We're only going to get a 4-shot. But I got my handy dandy target cam here. Or I should say target vision camera, which is downrange. You can zoom in and see the group. It's a couple inches. It's not great. We'll try some different 308 here. This could be that these match loads are seated a bit too long. I can see that that bullet's, set out pretty far. Not uncommon for match ammunition. And the chamber in the XCR just may not like that. This military ball ammunition, you can see the round's just ever so slightly longer on the match round. The ball rounds aren't giving me any problems. All right, let's try some different ammo, see what we get. All right, so I grabbed some Federal 175 grain Match Kings. Let's give those a try. Just gonna load 3 rounds to see where it shoots here really quick. This ammo's really expensive, so I'm somewhat conservative. Now the XCR does use just a standard P-mag, and if I'm so inclined, I can run my X Products 50-round drum magazine in it. I may do that a little bit later, we'll see. But all right, let's see what this Federal stuff does. Usually this stuff will fire good out of a cardboard tube, so I like to say. All right, we'll just shoot at the same target here. Hopefully you guys can see what's going on the target vision camera. The trigger on this rifle is actually really nice. The break is nice and clean. It's a little heavy in the take-up. No, it's just my luck. This ammo's grouping right where the Gorilla ammo was grouping. So we're going to have to shoot a different target. You can see it's throwing them right in there. So we'll have to go down and measure. I know that was one of the Gorilla rounds. Pretty sure I'll have to go back and look at the video. So it does look like the Federal's probably grouping a little bit tighter. This is the Gorilla ammunition and the Federal all combined 2 inches. And that would have been the Gorilla ammo that did that. So the Federal's somewhere in there, 2 inches. So we'll say 2-inch group there. Not too bad, not too bad. I mean, that's about average for a military grade rifle. We're going to shoot some 77 grain CR Match King match loads from Gorilla Ammunition out of the Model 15F lightweight model and just see what kind of accuracy we can get. Now, I'm using a 1-to-4 power scope. I have it cranked up to 4 power. It's not exactly a precision scope, so this isn't really going to be a true accuracy test. I'm just kind of curious how well the rifle's going to group with its lightweight pencil barrel. So let's see what it does. And the target camera is still running great, and it's still pouring rain down there. Now the trigger on the rifle isn't bad. It's a standard AR15 trigger. It would definitely benefit from a Geisley trigger, which I'll probably drop into the gun here eventually. Now let's see what kind of group it just printed. Not too shabby given the conditions. Let's see if you can zoom in on that. I have to go down and measure the group. Not too bad. Really, you can't get a really precise aiming point with a 4-power scope, especially with the horseshoe reticle that I'm using. But yeah, not too bad. We're going to try something different here. This is the Griffin Armament M4SDII 5.56 suppressor, which attaches via this interesting little mechanism to any standard A2 birdcage. We're going to fire 5 rounds of Wolf Gold at an F-class target at 100 yards. And we're going to see where it prints the group, and then we're going to put the suppressor on the pistol and shoot another 5 rounds and see how much that point of impact actually shifts. Now, this isn't going to be a exactly precise test because we're using a red dot sight with no magnification. So let me turn this down just a little bit, give myself a fighting chance here. All right, here we go. 5 rounds of Wolf Gold. All right, let's see what we got. Wow, right in the X-ring. All right, can't beat that. We'll have to run down range with the camera and show you what that target looks like. All right, now I'm going to put the suppressor on. You'll notice there's 2 rings here on the A2 birdcage. And the Griffin's going to lock into those rings, and it's going to use the flat that you use to attach it with a wrench as an indexing point. So I'm going to slide it down and then kind of push on this locking lever here when I find that ring, and then rotate it till I find that flat, then it locks in and it won't rotate. All right, now the suppressors are fixed. Let's go ahead and load up 5 more rounds of Wolf Gold here. What I could see, that wasn't a bad group for a red dot sight at 100. All right, 5 more rounds. Quite a bit more gas in your face. Just normal. All right. Didn't really need my hearing protection. Well, that's impressive. Looks like the group shifted up just a little bit. A couple of inches. Why don't we just run down range and measure what that shift was? But it just shifted up ever so slightly. We're going to round up our target vision camera, which has been sitting here getting rained on for the last hour or so. It's still transmitting the image back just fine. But also, while we're down here, we're going to take a look at that group, or the 2 groups I should say, that we fired. Now here's the first 5 rounds, fired with the red dot sight, using Wolf Gold out of the MI pistol. And it looks like it measures about 2 3/4 inch, maybe a little bit bigger. Put the suppressor on, fired another 5 shots. That wild shot was most likely me. The other 4 landed in about a 2-inch group, a little less, 1 3/4 inch group. But if you count that flyer, it's about, well, 4 inches. But what we're seeing here, it's not really an accuracy test, but what we're seeing here is a point of impact shifted only about 3 inches up by putting the suppressor on the pistol. It's pretty good. Now, it's not uncommon to see a slight point of impact shift when you suppress a firearm, but that little of movement is actually pretty cool. I like that quite a bit. It's a good mix, that pistol with that suppressor. Let's talk about some of the features of the XCR-M. First of all, the gun is all aluminum. It's an all-metal gun, which makes it just a little bit heavy. Now, this one has the quad rail system on it, which makes it even heavier. With the 308 rifle, it's a little bit nose heavy, which also is partly attributable to the fact that it has a very heavy profile barrel on it. Now this is the factory muzzle device. It's a muzzle brake, and it's fairly effective. It has pretty light recoil for a 308 rifle. Now, one of the things I like about the 5.56 version that I've had here for the last few months is the fact that it has their new lightweight key mod rail system on it, which really reduces that nose heaviness of the rifles. Even the 5.56 rifles, when they had the quad rails on them, were just a little bit nose heavy. You know, the 308, if it had that same the key mod system on it, it would probably be a lot better balanced rifle. But it's not bad. It's not a horribly heavy rifle. It would be easy to carry around. It actually feels pretty good. Has a standard A2 pistol grip on it here, and also has a quarter turn safety lever, or selector I should say. So it's very easy to hit that lever. It is ambidextrous. It has a control on both sides of the gun. And then you have the butt stock. The butt stock is adjustable for length of pull. Just have a button here on the bottom you push, and you can pull the stock out or push it and push the stock in. It also has a cheek riser, which is polymer, and pulling this thing off, it's really easy to pinch yourself right there. It's just a friction fit device. Without it, the rifle's still usable, and you know, it would work without it, and you may have to actually use it without it because, again, it's just a friction fit device. So you just kind of push it in place. It kind of pops in. If you're using this as a backpack rifle or carrying around the woods, the possibility does exist that you can knock this off and simply lose it. It has two settings. That's its highest setting, which would be useful for using optics. Then its lowest setting, which is a little bit lower, would be for use with iron sights and things like that. The stock also folds, so you just kind of pull up on the stock a little bit. It'll fold to the side, and it'll lock in the folded position to redeploy. Just pull up on it, and it extends. The charging handle is right here. It's non-reciprocating. It covers the opening there, so it seals the system up. Now the ejection port looks like it's a little bit small, but it's not. It'll kick out a live round very easily. But even the 5.56, when I look at these rifles, I always think, man, that ejection port looks really small. But it functions just fine, and it includes, from the factory, this ejection port buffer. The gun breaks down super easy. Just a button right here. You just push forward on this after you make sure that the weapon's clear. You just push forward on the button, and it'll just hinge open. It's kind of like an AR-15. And there's a pin in the front that's holding the upper to the lower. Inside, that's what you'll find. The recoil spring just pulls out like this, and then you can pull the bolt and carrier out of the rifle. Now, this is going to look very familiar to some of you guys. It really is just an AK. And I say just an AK, that's a good thing. This is the bolt firing pin. Very simple. Just sets together like that. When you want to put it back together, just make sure your bolt's forward. You'll notice it's a long stroke gas piston system. Put it in, slide it forward, put your recoil spring back in there, just give it a push, and then you can close her back up. And you want to be careful when you do this because it'd be very easy to chip the Cerakote finish. And you put it back together, and function check. So it's a really interesting rifle. Again, I've had very good results in terms of reliability with the gun. It does have an adjustable gas block here, so you can run it suppressed, or if you're trying to fine-tune it to a particular flavor of ammo, you have that capability. So overall, it's a really nice 308. A little bit pricey, but it's an interesting alternative to some of the other rifles out there on the market. All right, guys, it's time to tie things up. I hope you enjoyed coming out to the range with us this afternoon. This little guy with the M4SDII suppressor Griffin Armament on this little Midwest Industries pistol, SB15 brace, the hi-lux red dot sight, is absolutely incredible. We're pretty surprised at just how quiet this pistol is with the suppressor. The point of impact shift is minimal when I put the can on or take it off. Overall, I'm really loving this little guy, and you're going to see this quite a bit. I'll probably take this with me down to the Iraq Veterans Shoot, so you guys will probably see it down there. And then there's the XCR-M. It's sad that I have to send this gun back. I was hoping to spend some more time with it. I will say that the gun overall is pretty interesting. It's a decent 308 semi-automatic rifle. I like the fact that it uses PMags. It gives okay accuracy, nothing spectacular, but it's good for a battle type rifle. I would change the muzzle device. I'd put something different on it. I just don't like the way this looks, but it's very effective. The only other thing I'd really change about the rifle is this. I'd like to see a version 2 where you don't just have a friction fit cheek pad. I'd like to see something that's a little bit more permanently affixed to the gun. But other than that, it's a very solidly built rifle. I like the fact that it borrows heavily from the AK-47 in its design. This rifle's been 100% reliable with the different ammunition I fired through it. And generally, I like the gun. A little bit pricey, but it's a decent 308. If you're looking for one, you may want to check it out. And then, of course, the SVT-40. You guys are going to see this thing some more here on the channel. I'm going to do some videos about World War II rifles. I've picked up an SMLE. I have this rifle. I have a brand new Garand I just picked up. So we're going to talk more about World War II rifles. This rifle, I just brought it out today to get it zeroed, which it was already zeroed, and to play with the gas settings to see if I could get it maybe just a little bit more reliable. And it was met with some mixed results there. Overall, this is just an absolutely beautiful rifle. I'm really glad to have it in my collection. And again, you guys will see it some more here on the channel. If you guys have any questions about anything you've seen in this video, you can ask those questions on our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/military arms. Also, please come by and check us out at Copper Custom. I'll put a link in the description below. Thanks again, everybody. We'll talk to you guys soon. Love that, man. That's the unreliability I'm talking about.